For years, residents and tourists alike all ask the same question regarding the museum. When will it open?
That's one of the questions I've had more practice than anything else answering. This is an authentic restoration of Cayman's oldest public accessible building. So really it's our #1 artifact. We took a decision not to just do a repair.
Those men who worked at it, they did a wonderful job. What I keep reading in the papers, and they would send out all the various pictures, you know, and to think that layer after layer of the walls were stripped away. And what is so interesting is various writing that they found on the walls, especially it was in the jail house where they found, you know, imagine that wasn't a big jail, let me tell you, that was small. To be locked away in there, you had to write something on the wall to pass the time, I guess.
It kind of took on a life of its own, and now it's become Cayman premier archaeological site. And we've had an ongoing program there which is being carried out by conservators from Cuba and also other individuals, and we're working towards going for a World Heritage Site designation. Essentially what it means is that the building is protected on a world basis, and one important aspect of that is that it gives it authenticity, and it also gives it a credibility and a respect that I think our older structures such as this deserve internationally, not just within our own home. Part of this building that we're standing on, the lower half is a complete preserved wattle and daub structure with ironwood posts. And that's something that we saw all over Cayman many years ago, but now we probably have about maybe 10 buildings left. And this is the only building that is publicly accessible in that particular area.
Because of the wattle and daub, the museum will open its doors to the public before it installs any exhibits.
Once you put the exhibits into the actual space, you will not be able to see the authentic space itself and appreciate all of those historical features. Because the raw space will have to change, because the exhibits themselves will have different lighting, and also your eye will not be able to take in and appreciate exactly the artifact itself. The whole idea was to give the building back to the public, to come and have a stroll through it. In each room we will have a rendering, and the rendering will show individuals how the space will look with the exhibits.
Before the building became a museum, it already housed history.
Up until 1971, how this building, for instance, was where the judicial system was. I mean, this was the courthouse before it moved to the current courthouse now. Likewise, this is where the Lands and Survey Department started. Customs, everything in this country that we know now from a governmental sector started from this building.
And it was so interesting to think that underneath there, the library was the original old jail. And then it had a stairway that started from, you know, from the ground and went right up to when you entered the schoolroom, which was the old library. And since I was so tall and we'd be laughing and talking, I would be forever bumping the top of my head, so one day I have any sense to be. We had a lot of fun in those days. There wasn't much traffic in those days, but everything that cars, a few little cars and trucks and the people, we got to see it all. And I think sometimes we were looking more than we were looking at our books. It's almost unbelievable when you stop to think about it. And take, for instance, now the courthouse. You know the 12 steps that go up. So now, had you been a young man in those days and you and a friend got in a little argument and started a fight, somebody might say to you, you better watch out before you have to walk 12 steps. That meant you would have to walk those 12 steps and go up there and face that judge in that courtroom.
Museum staff members are working to combine that past with the present.
Currently I'm working on some vignettes for the new exhibits. After all that's finished, I'll be actually going out into the schools, into the community, and exciting people about what's happening at the museum and getting them to come in and view the exhibits and to really take part in the preservation of our culture. It's really important to shoot vignettes about Cayman's past because as a teacher, I know that passing information on to young people, you have to make it interesting. And when you have our history in 3D, in color, being performed on film, it's going to get across to them a whole lot easier than for me to stand up and do a lecture about it. It also brings that excitement of now into that. Instead of me telling you about it, I'm showing you what happened to Long Celia in the slave trials back in that time.
The restoration is an expensive endeavor, but you can help cover part of the cost by making a donation or perhaps purchasing products here at the museum shop.